Good morning, greetings everybody. I want to welcome you here to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here with the series we're running for the month of August. Sorry, a little tongue-tied there, which is called my favorite 4 album runs. Yes, I've picked 31 favorite 4 album runs amongst all the bands that I listen to. There's actually, I believe there's 4 bands that have 2 4-album runs. Nobody gets 3 though. I disallowed that. I decided that no more than 2 runs per band, so I could keep it to as much different stuff as I could without being like ridiculous. But anyway, so before we get started, I just want to tell everybody that I do apologize. This is the one video that will come out late. A really busy week at work this week. I was exhausted by the time I got to Friday night, so I just didn't have the energy to do anything last night, and nor did I have the energy to get up this morning. But I did. I got up, and so we're going to do this one. Will be late. Everybody else will be on time for the rest of the week. So the band I've chosen to do today, so for those of you who are, of course, not sure about what we're doing here, is I've picked 4 album runs of four albums that are consecutive in their appearance in their discography. So, and only the studio albums, not the live albums. So, if we got now for today, all 4 of these albums followed each other in succession chronologically. So that's what we're doing. So the band I've chosen to do today is Deep Purple. They are band number 29. So this will be album run number 29 on August the 3rd. I hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I did. I like all 4 of these albums. A couple of them haven't had as long a run with me as they probably should. Obviously, the opening album, which is Deep Purple in Rock, is the grandmaster of these 4 albums. Is the absolutely fantastic album in any way, shape, or form that you could possibly come up with. One of the best rock albums, I think, in history, not just for this particular run. Sorry. And I need my glasses here. Just want to make sure that I can see actually what I'm reading off the back of these albums. So this particular album, I believe, came out in 71, or no, sorry, 1970. My apologies. Excellent cover, of course, the parlaying on that Mount Rushmore look by adding the 4 members or 5 members of the band to this album look here. You've got Ritchie Blackmore, Ian Gillan, Roger Glover, John Lord, and Ian Pace all represented on this cover here. So there are 7 tracks on this album, which is a common number for these guys. For some reason, they like to get 7 tracks. Absolutely some of the best stuff that Deep Purple put out is on this album. Speed King, great track. I love it. Bloodsucker, really heavy, beefy song that is, to me, one of their best songs. You got Child of Time, which is kind of that prog, a little bit of that prog thing going on there. Then you got Flight of the Rat, which is one of those songs that I'm not overly crazy about, but a good song. And then the backside is almost as good. Into the Fire, Living Wreck, and Hard Loving Man. Living Wreck is another one of those songs that is very underrated and should get a lot more attention than it does. So this is a fantastic album, without a doubt. So its follow-upper, or the number 2 in it, is this one, Fireball. I love the cover here, absolutely killer. I believe this album released in 71. Another 7 songs on the album, you know. Of course, the opening track, Fireball. There's a nice shot of all the members there in that cosmic fireball going through space. No, 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 another great track. Strange Kind of Woman. This is one of their usually concert type songs that they play quite a bit. I don't know if they're playing it as much as they used to, but definitely was in that time period. It was played a lot. Anyone's Daughter, another good track. The Mule, I like this. Fools, and No One Came. All heavy stuff. This is a heavy album. Again, another great one. Maybe not quite as good as, well, actually, I don't think it's as good as In the Rock, but it's still a solid album. So up comes their third studio album, released in '72. This is Machine Head. Many people consider this to be their best album. I'm not going to argue with them. It's not my favorite album. It does have some absolute killer tracks on it. Opens up with Highway Star, another really well-known Deep Purple track. And it ends with Space Truckin', which I think is another one of those great Deep Purple well-known songs. Absolutely killer. And then, of course, in the middle there, fifth track in Smoke on the Water, which is probably the most iconic song they've done. Everybody knows that riff. That's one of the first riffs people learn on the guitar. Really classic sound. Maybe I'm a Leo, and Picture of Home, Never Before, and Lazy are all the other tracks on this album. This is a solid album. I did do a video on this recently called Not What We Hoped For, but I wanted to make sure people understood that it's not that I don't like this album. I like it a lot. I just think I kind of expected more from it before I listened to it because it was so famous an album, and I didn't quite get that. But still a absolute killer album, and falls number 3 in this run of albums. Okay, and the last album on the list from '73, I believe it's '73, yep, is this album, which is titled Who We Think We Are. This is another kind of, a little bit of a bizarre cover here. Got a bunch of, looks like kind of bubble things floating around above the edge of something. It looks like an ocean. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. Produced, of course, by Deep Purple. Some really good tracks on here, including Woman from Tokyo, one of their bigger hits, I think. And then it's got a lot of deeper stuff, Super Trooper, Smooth Dancer, Rat Bat Blue. Yeah, there's some good stuff on this album. Strong album. I'm not as familiar with this album as the other ones. I've been listening to it, but it's still just kind of growing on me. Probably will be one of the albums that goes in my playlist eventually. But just a fantastic end to a good run of albums here. This is a strong run of albums. Deep Purple, not one of the absolute elite bands for me, but a band that I like quite a bit. To me, I think they're a top 30 band for me, which is, considering how many bands I listen to, it's pretty damn good. So there you go, Deep Purple, their 4-album run. We'll just reiterate them. In Rock was the first one in the chain of albums. Fireball was the second album in the chain. Machine Head was the third album in the list. And last but not least, Who We Think We Are was the 4th album. So that is a solid 4-album run by a great band. And I think this particular run can only get stronger for me because a couple of the albums, Fireball and Who We Think We Are still fairly new albums to me. I mean, new within the last year I've been listening to them. And both of them will get their turn in the playlist. And yeah, absolutely killer. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode of my favorite 4-album runs that we're doing for the month of August. This is number 3. And if you've enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe. That's much appreciated. If you got any comments, please put them in the comments section. I'll be answering all the comments today, as I had no time yesterday. I think I looked at some of the comments, but I had no time to really say much. And I didn't want to say stuff half-assed. I like to kind of think about what I'm going to say before I say it, which is not a trait that runs very well in my family. But however, I like to practice that. So don't forget the notification bell, and we will see you tomorrow with the regular 4th episode of this series of my favorite 4-album runs. So take care, and we'll see you then. Bye.